Hey y'all, here we are the day before Thanksgiving, 2024, I guess it is. Time kind of stands still up where I'm at. I'm not standing, I'm actually sitting on the ground. I'm not real worried about any critters, goats are out in the pasture. And I'm in the pear orchard. Some of y'all may have seen the video yesterday of my sister and I taking a stroll through this overgrown thicket now, and she was having a little trouble understanding that all these trees are older than us in this part of the pasture, but that's the truth. I came up here, I'm not being lazy, I promise. I have been working my tail off today with the chainsaw and getting a lot of sprucing up done around the place. Before we get too deep into it, y'all sound off where you're at this evening, and maybe even where you'll be celebrating Thanksgiving from. We all celebrate in some way or fashion, right? But we stumbled on an old pear stump. Give you a little background. This was the pear orchard as we was growing up in our teens and early childhood years, and we'd pick a lot of pears up here, and they'd put them up as pear preserves. There's actually still a jar of them in that old cannon shed. They're not fit to eat, but they're there. But these old trees have been dead for years, and nothing but stumps remain. There's not but a few of them left. There probably must have been, I've estimated 12. There's probably 20 or 30, actually, a couple different rows. But what struck me yesterday, it was kind of a pun, or I guess that's what you'd call it, play on words. But we found this one stump, and I'm going to show it to you. From my vantage point where I'm at, I'm actually looking through the two little knot holes in the stump. We joked about it. It's a pair of binoculars on a pear tree, or pear spectacles, if you would. But it bears a different meaning if you kind of peer through that and let your imagination run wild. It overlooks the whole pasture. It's the last pear tree on the line, and I guess you could let your imagination run a little wild and peer back in time. What struck me about this old tree, and I'll show it to you for those of y'all haven't seen it. Well, I guess it's more of a stump than anything. Here, let's see if we can give y'all a vantage point. Look at that. Isn't that something? Two little knot holes. Looking back in time, of course, there's the home place, and there's the overgrown pear orchard. But what really my takeaway from this is I want y'all to look at this old stump. There's not a bit of heart left into it. The bark on the outside is all but gone, and it's seen a better life, hadn't it? But it kind of taught me a lesson about this time of the year, and I've struggled with it in times past, but I've learned to change that way of thinking, because where there's hope, there's life, right? This old pear stump still has a little life in it. I don't know how. Who knows all of the elements and age and just nature's design that's come across this old tree. And I don't know if y'all can find a sliver of life in that stump. I can't. But there's proof of it right there with brand new leaves. May never make another pear, but it still has life. Even though its heart is destroyed and its exterior is nothing like it was in its youth, but it still has hope, right? Y'all know me when I get to thinking about things and nature and God's design. He's got lots of stuff to teach us. That reminded me of a story of a mother and a daughter. They had, of course, they were in the middle of the throes of the holidays, coming up on Thanksgiving. So she scooped up the little freckle-faced girl, about 10 years old, and headed to Target to get some last-minute items for the big feast the next day. Well, you know it, as they're coming out of the store, she's got her mind on all the people she has to serve, the recipes, that she get everything she needed, that she have the fancy utensils and the like. Well, they walked out, and there was a rainstorm had blown in while they were in there shopping, and they were kind of trapped. If I can get across this barbed wire fence, they're on the front veranda of the store, along with probably a dozen or 20 other folks that were trapped by the rain. Now, this wasn't one of those typical misting rains. This was what we'd call an old gully washer, spilling off the sides. The gutters couldn't hold it. If you stepped out in it, you're just going to get sure enough soaked, right? So they stood there, and a few folks were irritated because it had messed up the plans for their busy evening and their chores. And Mom stood there and mesmerized by the rain, took her back to her childhood and running through summer rains and puddles. The silence was broken. The little girl tugged on her mama and said quietly, "Mom, let's run through the rain." Her mom came to her senses and said, "No, baby, we can't run through the rain. We'll just give it a minute. It'll let up. And we'll be on our way." She said, "If we run through the rain, we'll get absolutely drenched and probably get sick." She said, "No, we won't, Mother. That's not what you said this morning." Mother stopped, and now the little girl had her full attention, as well as the other onlookers. She said, "Sweetheart, when did I ever tell you that we could run through the rain and not get wet?" She said, "Well, this morning I overheard you talking to Daddy about his cancer and coming back, and that y'all were praying, and then if God could get y'all through that he could get us through anything, Mom." That changed things a little bit there in that crowd. Mom stood there and didn't really know what to say. Kind of a testing moment of faith to show this impressionable young lady. She thought about it. She said, "You know what? Maybe you're right. Let's run through the rain." So laughing and giggling, they took their little shopping bags and put it over their head as to prevent a few raindrops from messing up their hair. And they took off running and laughing, splashing in the puddles all the way to the car. They got drenched, soaked to the bone. It spread through the crowd, though, and everybody started laughing and joking, and most of them took off running through the rain. That's the thing about it. Life and its circumstances can sometimes take away all your money, take away your family. It can take away your wealth and even your health. But we have to learn to hold on to those memories and the promise of hope. For me, it's in Jesus Christ that keeps us going. Beautiful story and so apropos about thankfulness today. Most of y'all have a, if you have a regular job, you're off work, and maybe you got off a little early in the week and traveling. Praying for traveling grace on those journeys as you gather with families large or small, or maybe you're by yourself tomorrow, but you're never alone. Walking with my best friend, I hope it's yours. Some folks just aren't thankful enough, though, are they? You just can't. You could give them everything, and it's still not be thankful. Reminds me of two old friends met on the street. Hadn't seen each other in a while, and one of the friends was just absolutely forlorn, sad, almost crying. His other friend said, "Hey, buddy, what's wrong with you, man? You look so sad." He said, "No, you don't understand. 3 weeks ago, my uncle died and left me $40,000." He said, "Well, that's a lot of money." He said, "No, wait. No, 2 weeks ago, a cousin that I had never even met left me $85,000. He died. And it was free and clear." He said, "Man, that is a lot of money. You sure are blessed." He said, "No, wait. 3 weeks ago, my aunt died, and she left me $250,000. He said, "Now, wait a minute. Sounds like you're mighty blessed, friend." He said, "What in the world are you so sad for?" He said, "This week, nothing." You just can't help some people, right? Oh, goodness. That's how it goes. This is I'm walking. Y'all got to keep me on track. Of course, I'm not looking, so I don't know if I'm bumping or well. You'll know if I bump this old fence here because it's got about 15,000 volts running through it. So I might do a little jig if I get distracted and bump it. Hopefully that won't happen. The goats and the pigs and the chickens are good. Francisco came over a minute ago. We were talking about doing a water line out here. He's got that excavator and just talking about a path around these roots. And he's a animal herder as well. He's got some chickens and he had some geese. Poor things died though. I hated that. But these chickens that I have, they're a little older, and I don't expect they're laying that great. But we've got half a dozen of them. I've got 7 in the house, the little bitties that are coming on. But free ranging like this, it's generally an Easter egg hunt. And I found one of their hidey holes yesterday. It was There was 20 eggs in there. I'm like, well, my goodness, y'all are laying. I just didn't know where you were laying at. Well, I didn't know the worth of them. Jordan and I really don't eat a whole lot of eggs, and I don't want to give away old eggs. Right now, I'm in incubation mode, so any eggs I find, you've got about 7 days or so under normal temperatures. Of course, we're going to get a little cooler, and you can incubate them. Well, I had no idea how old these were, so I just disposed of them. And of course, the chickens, that's good protein for them, so they recycle them. We'll just leave it at that. But Francisco and I was walking the chicken house and talking about some plumbing issues and all. And lo and behold, we come across 3 nesting boxes in there with about 15 eggs each in them. He said, "Man, your chickens are laying everywhere." I'm like, "Man, I didn't even think they came in this house anymore." So anyway, I'm gonna take what we got and put them in the incubator. Excuse me. And if they make, they make. If not, they wasn't gonna have any use anyway. But now I know where their hidey holes are at. So, ladies, if y'all go to laying anymore this week, I'm gonna find them. So I don't know if they're running off. They're like, "Well, we got to find another hiding place." I don't know if I'd updated on the public feed. Uh, I know subscribers. We been keeping them in the loop. Some of the trivial stuff. I see her out there in the field now. Um, the little black goat that we had. Some of y'all remember we had 4 this spring from JoJo, who went down on us earlier in the year, but not before the kids got weaned. But I took 2 of the does, the runts of the litter of the kidding, and bottle fed them, and taught me something I'll do from now on. To be honest with you, bottle feed my does because they're just so easy to handle. Well, long story short, um, they've been weaned and living life with the herd, but of course, been battling them getting out of the fence, and she got bumped on the road the other day. I say bumped because if she'd got hit good, she wouldn't be with us. But didn't break anything, just kind of knocked her off her rhythm. Got infested with worms, internal parasites, and all. We were doctoring it, and finally got the corner turned. And she's trying to put on some weight, but we've got a little cold snap coming in, lower or upper 30s the rest of the week. So she's going to be going back in the house in the kennel to make sure, as you can see, for the subscribers. Here's a little update today. She's eating fine. Problem when they get those parasites, uh, goats hide their pain and their distress pretty good, and they can eat and eat and eat, but if they're eat up with those internal parasites, they're not getting any nutrition. Little thing was 21 pounds Monday when we went to the vet, but the worms are all gone, and she's on the mend, giving her electrolytes. It's been 3 weeks since the little bump on the road, so I think she's gonna be all right. She's acting like a goat, isn't she? Huh? She don't know, but she's not going to sleep out in the cold tonight. We're trying to prevent any type of pneumonia or any type of respiratory problem with this night air, since our system's so weak and feel her little backbone and all. But she's she's a fighter coming on. There's the black cat. We got 2 black cats, 2 white cats, and a calico. Yeah, you want to be back out there with the big boys. Yeah, you do. Problem with it is putting her out there in the pen. None of the goats are aggressive, but just their feeding habits. They'll bump each other's heads and moving around in the feed bowl. And she doesn't have a whole lot of strength right now, and they'll knock her down and she can't hardly get back up. So we're keeping her segregated. But I'm starting to feel a little meat come back on the bones as the last couple of days, so that's a good thing. So we're giving thanks for that this week, right? And so many other things. Really focused on hope. It's easy to hope when things are easy, right? True hope comes when it seems hopeless. And you hang on to hope. Good buddy of mine down Southeast Texas way, we talk a lot, and he has a ministry of sorts, and um, we like to sharpen iron a lot. And we was talking about hope. It's been a couple 3 weeks ago, and he said something. I'm sure I've heard it before, but it was new for me at the time. And when you can't hope, just hope for hope, right? Sometimes things around you are pretty rough, but you can at least hope for hope, right? Me and that chainsaw have been friends today. I sure hate cutting down trees, but sometimes it dictates it on the land. The two little old trees I had here on this old chicken house, um, as nature would have it, see, the roots are starting to split the house up. So should have got them a little earlier, but we got them down today. And got a cedar tree over here, one of two left that my Uncle Buddy planted in high school. So let's see, he's 80, so you do the math on that, how old these are. But he planted two pine trees in the front and two cedar trees out here, and one of each survived, right? But this thing was hanging down. Some of y'all remember, you couldn't hardly walk through here, but we got that trimmed up and gave this old oak tree in front of the house with the wisteria that we talked about in that one video. Um, those wisteria vines are going to have a challenge trying to find a low-hanging branch next year when they come back. But that'll sure make a pretty tree now that we've got some of the lower branches off of it. So we have got a burn pile on Woden Road. It'll be ready for some bonfires pretty quick when that weather goes down, right? I saw another story about faith and hope. Wanted to share before we do a quick roll call. Find out where y'all are hanging out this evening. And if we don't get to you on the live, then we'll definitely check it out later. Some people say, man, how in the world do you respond to all those comments? Well, somebody's going to take the time to comment. So this little old ramblings we do, I think it's only proper to comment back. So I do have a team of admins that are taking care of some of the scammers. And if y'all ever get one of those silly friend me or just ignore it, I'll get it pretty quick. But they maintain all of that kind of stuff. But I'm in the Washboard Chronicles identity, but I'm responding to you all because I do appreciate it. And just glad to encourage and inspire a little bit. Boy, it's getting dark on me. That's what happens when I ramble. There's a story about a Marine in World War II fighting in the Pacific, one of those islands. And it's jungle warfare, rough, bad time. He got separated from his platoon, and the enemy was all around. It's guerrilla warfare, and just everybody's trying to get back behind the safety lines. Well, he couldn't. He had to figure out how to hide. Didn't know the terrain that well. He found a cave, crawled up in it. He could hear them marching and hollering and shooting and coming at him. And he had pretty strong faith. Young man, didn't have a whole lot of wisdom about God's bigger plan, but he trusted him. He sat there fairly scared, thinking his life was over, surely, when they found him in that cave. He prayed for the Lord to deliver him. Even asked for a brick wall, some type of miracle, a rock, a boulder, anything to seal that cave up, to protect him. Didn't happen. As he heard them get a little closer, down below the ridge, knew that discovery was imminent. Saw a little spider drop down at the entrance of that cave, began weaving a web. Beautiful web. He didn't like spiders, but he didn't bother this one. He was trying to stay too still and too quiet. Well, this little spider finished her masterpiece all across the front of that cave. As the platoon approached, looking through all the other caves, they came upon the cave he was hiding in the back of. They saw the spider web and concluded that there's no way he could be in there. The spider web wouldn't be there if someone had entered it. So God sent a spider, right? Imagine that. His life was spared. That's pretty cool. Sometimes he don't give us the exact solutions that we think he ought to. He knows best, doesn't he? He said the simple things confound the wise. Boy, he uses the simple things to confound the simple too, because I'm confounded most days. I don't know about wisdom. Well, this old well's a little lower than it used to be. Now it's sunk back down. I'm ready to get after my brick project. We're going to put a brick patio around it with all the names of the lineage down to the grandkids, and then we might even, I know we will, a lot of the subscribers that have been with us for a while. Of course, it's a nominal fee. It's just the support, and I appreciate all the shares. We can be the light, all of us, and you take the good content that's out there, something you enjoy, a story that touched you, and share it. share it, show Facebook. This is what we want to see. We don't want to see all that other goofiness, right? But we sunk the old well back in the ground. It'll only be functional again. That time is gone. It used to be there, but I'm gonna get after that pretty quick. Soon I get all these trees where they need to be. But I'm short enough. I guess I can sit down, and I got my spectacles tonight, so I can read comments, y'all. I planned ahead. I found another pair in the chicken house. Francisco found them. So there's probably 10 pair around there. There's one hanging on the fence. Jordan's back, and I guess he's taking dad watch duty. I'll be walking around the house, of course, just get absent minded and forget where I laid this or that. And I guess I get this certain look on my face, and he'll come out of his room and say, "Dad, what are you looking for?" And I'll tell him, he says, "Right over there on the counter by the." Oh, thanks. So it's good to have youth around, isn't it? All right, let me go back through these comments before it gets slap dark on me, and we'll go from there. All right, let's do a little scrolling. See a lot of folks watching. There's Miss Regina checking in from South Mississippi. Boy, it feels good to actually see the text tonight. That pear tree was hit by lightning. You reckon so, Jason? Well, it hit every one of them, I guess, honestly, because when I first moved back in, there was about 15 stumps up there that looked exactly like that, except for those two little holes. But I guess the lightning could have hit it. Lightning's pretty active on this place. But thank you for sharing that. That's something I didn't know. Let's see. Hello, happy to catch me live. Hey, Arbor, how are you? Not sure where you're at, but howdy anyway. A lot of watchers, nobody's commenting. That's all right. I do see a good friend down Huntsville Way. She knows who she is. Howdy. um, yeah. Let's see. Robin's checking in from Winston-Salem, North Carolina. How are you this evening on the East Coast? Oh, there she is. She did comment. Wow, man. Good to see you, Miss Donna. Hope y'all have a happy Thanksgiving. Tell the family hello. Um, well, I'm glad you caught me live, Robin. That's better than catching the alternative, I suppose. Oh, man. All right. Let's see. Grace Honeycutt. Hope you have a happy Thanksgiving. Well, back at you. Yeah, truly. Hope all of y'all have a blessed day and really be reflectful on all that we had to be thankful for, even if it's just the breath in our body, right? Live to fight another day. There's BK Stroud out of Beckville, Texas. Regular commenter on here. Thank you, man, for checking in. Hope you have a good Thanksgiving as well. Brother Dale Simmons, love your stories and messages from Southeast Kansas. Well, I imagine it's might colder up there than it is here today, or it's about to be anyway. I don't know if I can handle months of snow, but I guess to each his own. Appreciate you, Dale, and all your support. Daniel B. Leslie is in South Carolina. Have a chicken. It developed a rather large tumor on its neck. Let me see how long this is. I don't know if I can read it right now, bro. There we go. She has scoliosis. I tell you, Pearl is her name. She's the smartest chicken of the bunch. We have 7 chickens and reckon they are chilling on the egg, laying, reckon they're molting. Well, that's probably true. Well, of course, this time of the year they do slow down. They need about 15 hours of daylight. I think that's right. 14, somewhere along there. Anyway, the days are a little bit too short, or getting short, for them to lay, and that's just nature cycle. Melissa Christman, happy Thanksgiving to you and your family from North Carolina. Got a lot of fans up in North Carolina and South Carolina. My daughter lives in South Carolina. That's a good part of the country. You know, I went out and visited her a couple of years back. Beautiful. Going to miss them this Thanksgiving for sure. Nancy Weaver Hughes, have a safe, happy, and blessed Thanksgiving. Back to you. William Rudat, bless you, Rothbury, Michigan here. All right. I'm glad I know my abbreviations. Deborah's in Michigan. There's 2 folks in Michigan tonight, all over the world. Jan's up in Fort Worth, Texas, cowboy town. All right. Good to see you, ma'am. Deborah saying happy Thanksgiving. Sharon Diane Elrod. Good evening. Taking a break out of the kitchen for a few minutes. Happy Thanksgiving to you guys. Well, back at you and to all your family. There's Robin saying happy Thanksgiving again. Holly Green, hope you have a happy Thanksgiving from Lawley, Alabama. Man, I wonder if I had a nickel for every time I said happy Thanksgiving. that reminds me of another one. I wasn't going to tell this one tonight, but I guess I will if I can remember it. But wealthy man, a boss of a company, invited one of his higher ups to spend the weekend with him and his wife. And where to say, that doesn't sound good. All my animals are up. Sorry about that. Always makes me nervous, that old road, and you hear a bump. But all my animals are here, so we're good. Uh, no, we're not. Somebody's running. Hang on, y'all. I'm sorry. Maybe it's stray. Nope. I'll have to check on this one, y'all. All right, y'all have a good evening and be the light. We got an animal to take care of. I don't think it's mine though.